Bangor School Department, and we're going to talk about a little bit about the importance for reading to your child. So a couple things that stand out when you're thinking about reading to your child and why it's important. One is that it's really good for kids to hear fluent reading. So when you're reading to them, you're modeling fluent reading, you're modeling how you solve words, you might be modeling how to think about what a vocabulary word means. And it's also important because with our young kids, we're showing early reading behaviors, how a book works, where the print is, what a picture means, the cover of a book, those kinds of things. So today we're going to give you a few tips when you read aloud to your child, some things that you can do. So when you think about reading aloud to your child, it's okay to read aloud at any age. Like when you think about teenage students, you might read aloud sports pages, or you might help them find information on the internet, informational type things, all the way down to our youngest kids, infants. When they're in the womb, you can read to them. So it's also important that we provide students book choice. So when you go to the library, when you go to a bookstore, or even in your own home, let kids pick the book that they would like to have you read to them. And that might be repetitive, and they might choose the same book over and over again, but that's okay. And then also just making sure that kids have nonfiction to select from, that they have that as a choice, that they have some informational books, some books on different topics that they like, trucks or dolls or horses or that kind of thing. So other things to think about when you're reading aloud to your children or child is talking about the way books work. For example, a mystery generally always runs the same way, and so a student or your child might not understand the structure of that book. Or for example, a graphic novel that you have to follow it a certain way, and the speech bubbles and the text come at different times. Something else to think about is providing your child with different types of reading materials, brochures, maps, cereal boxes like environmental print, letting them read the signs, Burger King, McDonald's. They learn those really early because they're visually, they stand out to kids. Magazines, newspapers, those are all good things to have your kids read. So another idea that you could have when reading to your child is really talking about the cover before you actually dive into the book, especially if it's a new book. So for example, when you have this text here, Diary of a Wombat, I might start off just by saying to my child that, I don't know what a wombat is. Not something that we have here in Maine, but I bet the author is going to tell me what a wombat is, and I'm guessing that he probably eats carrots and that he's cute, because he looks cute on the cover. I might also talk about what a diary is, because maybe my child has never had an experience with a diary, that it's an account of what's happened in someone's life. It might be day by day, hour by hour, that kind of thing. So just talking about what to anticipate when you're reading this story. Something else to think about would be, especially in young readers, if you have pre-K students, before pre-K, kindergarten, first, second, is when you're reading the text, as you read, running your finger under the print so they understand the difference between what a picture is and what the print is. So just Monday, morning slept, afternoon slept, evening ate grass, scratched, night ate grass, would be an example of running your finger under it. And then also, if it's applicable, like if your child is ready, maybe you read a page and then your child reads a page, so that they become a little bit more involved. If the text is too hard, I would certainly just read the text to them so they don't become frustrated. But taking turns reading is a fun way to share a book with your child. We're going to use The Girl and the Bicycle to demonstrate how to think aloud as you read. As a reader, you have a thought process as you read through a book, and it's important that children see that. So when you're reading aloud to your child, kind of say what you're thinking so they get an understanding of that process. So for example, The Girl and the Bicycle is actually a text with no words, so it's easier to model that process. So as I look at this 2-page spread, I'm thinking as a reader that I see characters who are darker and then these two that are lighter, and I'm thinking those are going to be the main characters, and it looks to me like it's a brother and a sister, and he's eating an ice cream and she's towing him along through the city streets. If I turn the page, I notice, so again, this is what I would be thinking as I was actually looking through this book, but I'm going to say these things out loud to my child sitting next to me, or children, that she notices in this picture, this bicycle, and she looks, if you look at both pictures, she is very excited about it, so much so she drags her brother out of there and he drops his poor ice cream. Now this is another way too to get your child involved, is you can be asking them questions as you go. So you might say, well, what else do you notice about this picture? Or what are you thinking about what's going on in the story so far? So if I turn the page again, I might say to my child, oh, look, she saw this bicycle, she tore out of there, and now it looks like she's checking every place for money, like couch, dryer, her piggy bank. And I might ask a child, where would you check for money? Like if you were looking to buy something, where could you find some money? And that might actually lead them to make some predictions or thinking about what might happen next, is that then she decides to open up a lemonade stand for money. She is having a yard sale for money. And then the thinking here that it doesn't look like she has quite enough yet. So where could brother's bored. He doesn't look like he's really invested in this at all or helping her. But then you might ask your child, what do you think is going to happen next? How else could she get some money? So those are just some ways that you could potentially be thinking and talking out loud to your child as you read, and then getting them more involved in the book by just asking those simple questions. Well, what do you think? What's going to happen next? What do you see this character doing? How does that character feel? How do you know? So other ways that you can get your child involved when you read the book, other than asking them questions, is when you get to the middle of the story or when you get to the end of the story, you can have them retell what they've read so far, or give you a summary at the end of, oh, well, this book was about this, this, and this, and the character did this, and the problem and that kind of thing was this. So it just kind of gives them a purpose and lets them know that you might ask them about the book at the end. So another thing that you might do is have them critique the book. What did you really like in this book? Or what would you change in this book? What do you think the author could do differently in this part or this part to make it a better story? Or how would you change it if you were reading this story? So just a little bit of involvement. So finalizing our reading tips for when you read aloud to your child, something important to think about is making sure that reading time is fun. Enjoyable, something that they look forward to when you read to them. Maybe changing voices to the characters of a familiar book that they really love. Also thinking about daily routines. So maybe making it part of bedtime, bath, teeth, pajamas, read before they go to sleep, or right after dinner, or when they get home from school, so that every day they're anticipating that, oh, this is the time that my mom or my dad or my parents, my guardian, whoever reads to me. It makes it a structured time that kids look forward to. So as you're thinking about reading to your child, have fun with it. Do it every day. They love it. You'll love it. It's a great time, great way to spend family time, and have fun reading.